Um, Before we get started,
Great.
again, my name is Brent Martin. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Arlington, and I'm joined by Kelly Munro, our Strategic Account Executive. Uh,
Hello.
Kelly's in Connecticut. I'm in North Carolina, and if you've, I see some familiar names on the webinar, so some of you probably heard us this year, and we appreciate your returning again for a webinar. But one of the topics we wanted to talk about today was how we can improve our web performance without just spending a load of money to do that. And we'll just get started right away with this. And so the topic comes up a lot. We're in this world today with um, where we're just in this digital world, right? So I saw this comic. I thought it was hilarious. I had put up there like this is so like my daughter's a Gen Zer, and this is so like the way that she thinks. Like, you know, what if you ask her a question, what's the meaning of life? It's like she goes right to Siri for the answer, right? So like, what would she do, right? The I don't know. The computers are down. You know, how could I possibly know what the meaning of his life is without having the help from in a digital world? So that's kind of the topic for today. We're gonna cover several topics here in our agenda, but first we're just going to get into websites and business in general, and kind of the atmosphere today. So what is the truth about the internet? So uh, again, just review. There's a lot of people use the internet. 4.2 billion um, or so actual users, of which they are searching a world wide web that contains almost 2 billion individual websites, which in itself is kind of mind-boggling when you consider that's almost half the actual internet users. So for every two internet users, there is a website. Um, Google reports 40,000 web searches on Google alone every second. So before you get your calculator out, and you're wondering how many that is a year, it's about 1.2 trillion. Uh, 3.2 billion internet users are also social media users. And of those, 44% are actually accessing the web via laptops and desktops or computers, or about half are using their mobile phones now to get on the web. When it comes to the type of things that people are looking at now when they go to look for a company online, that 55% of people to learn more about a company are searching online reviews and recommendations. 47 are actually getting past that to a company website. Well, now it's only about a quarter of people when they're interested in a company are just going right away to the store first, and even less than that are actually talking to friends or family members to learn about something. Their bottom line is, we have this tool that's available to us all now, at our in our pockets, usually on a phone, where we can get all this information. So it leads us to, how does this fall into today's business? So there's an interesting survey that was done by Visual Objects in March of this year. They actually went out and polled a group of small business owners, and this was interesting that there's still 40% of small businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, that are existing without a website. So if you're in that boat, don't feel like you're alone. There's others there too. And of those, you can see right there, although there's 40% that don't, 72% would have some kind of plan for a website in the future. The reasons that are given, again, this, you may relate to some of these if you don't have a website, or web's not a focus for you. Cost, right away there's just that obstacle. What's it going to cost me to do this? The other thing is it relevant to my company? Um, Using traditional marketing, it's easy for us all to do that. We still do that. We still send flyers. We still make phone calls. We still connect word of mouth with folks through traditional methods, and then use those personal networks. And I know I get a lot of phone calls from our customers, and a lot of you are looking to improve your digital presence, but I hear these same things, these same four that are coming through. So I thought it was worth mentioning, especially the personal networks. I know a lot of us have survived with that personal relationship, and we're no different. We value that relationship with you as our resellers, and we know it's even stronger for some of you at the consumer level. So on the topic of website budgets, in that same survey, 65% of those business owners also said that they don't intend on spending more than $10,000 on designing a website, launching a website. 20% of those that are doing that are using using a web agency, an outside firm, to help them with their website, and only 52% are actually using internal staff to manage the day-to-day website. So there's still a large group that's either not doing it at all or are using firms on their website. So that's going to leave us right into like, okay, now how does this affect me? How do we start saving? So where do we start? If you want to do this in-house, where do you start? Well, there's a few low-cost options that are available to you. Weebly is one. WordPress another. Joomla is another platform very similar to WordPress. And the last two are things that you've probably seen if you've been watching television or listening to the radio in the last 10 years. Wix and GoDaddy. They market themselves heavily as being, we can build your website for almost nothing, and you can. And all four of these have value in different ways, but the two that I wanted to kind of focus on today are Weebly and WordPress. And just to kind of keep things simple, you can look at the others as well, but I wanted to pick two out and kind of compare the pros and cons. And this is where we settle on these. So right out of the gate, I'll kind of highlight the advantages. Weebly, it's a very simple user interface. If you've used GoDaddy or Wix in the past, similar in that capacity, they make it to where it's simpler to use from the layman, and that you can get involved. You can get in there. You can upload your images, enter your text and your content, and they put that site out there for you. They also have very strong 24/7 support online or by phone. So those are two of their strengths. The WordPress side, they do have some base hosting plans that are less expensive than Weebly on a month-to-month cost. And with WordPress, you have a lot more customization to where you can be a lot more flexible in your future. You can expand, and there's a lot of community of developers who share apps and other things that are available through WordPress that you're limited to in Weebly. When you're using Weebly, you're kind of limited to what they provide you. So I wanted to kind of take you to their sites just to kind of show you how you could get to Weebly at www.weebly.com. There's a couple different plans they have available. So you can see that you can get anything from a basic use plan that doesn't cost you anything for free to get you started. And then you can start getting into plans that are anywhere from $6 a month to $26 a month. A lot of these involve space for pages. That's why you might pay for more between personal and professional. The ability to have more images. On the performance, this has integrated e-commerce tools with it. So if you want to have a shopping cart where you can do some e-commerce on the site, the $26 a month is what you'd be looking at, but still pretty low cost, right? I mean, we can all, as business owners, people are running a business, you can understand where $26 a month is a pretty low expense. But what does that get you? I'll let you go through here on your own to kind of get a little more information, but we can show you some sample sites. Merchant Method, they're a reseller that has a site. This is all built in Weebly. So you can see you got a professional looking site right here. They even have quizzes in there. They got social media links. You can navigate through here. That's merchantmethod.com. Another one is standing desk or the ready desk. They actually do these wooden kind of computer stands that flex back and forth, like you see the Varidesk and all those. They manage their entire site on Weebly as well, and they actually are using the shopping cart. So they're doing the $26 a month website, and they've got their product in here. They got multiple angled images uh, and environmental image, and then you can add to the shopping cart and actually transact through this site. So Weebly is what I'd look at. I mentioned it is a free site, and Kelly has some experience with this, right? Didn't your son used a Weebly site for
Yeah.
their high school?
Their high school uses it for their senior trip. And my son actually, they're kids, so they're smarter than us. He actually built a website for his wiffle ball league as well. Uh, Pretty cool. This
So
is
yeah,
the free one.
for absolutely free. So here's an example of what that 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 senior class trip site for Kelly's son's site would look like. And I'm showing this to point out one thing. When you do it for free, uh, your URL will always have that Weebly.com in there. So they have uh, the abbreviation for their high school .weebly.com. So same with WordPress. When you use a free version of WordPress, that's kind of the I guess the downside is that your URL will have Weebly.com or WordPress.com in there. So for a lot of business owners, I would recommend at least paying probably the minimum so you can use your own URL on the website. So also another thing that you don't have as well is the SSL certificate on the basic free site. So you can see that you have that indicator right here with regards to that. So that's another just thing to consider with Weebly versus WordPress. On WordPress, you can go to their site. You can learn more there. Again, you can for any of these. What I'd recommend if it's something you're curious in is log in, get started. It doesn't cost you anything, and then begin to see what kind of templates are available to your company. If it's you, if it's not you, and you have someone else that's on your marketing side helping you in your company, get them to do it. Um, and then you can kind of see what capabilities are out there, what functionalities out there. What I will tell you is with WordPress, we use WordPress as the background for Arly.com. So when you go and view Arly.com, you are viewing a site that is developed on WordPress. Now, I do have a marketing team, and I do have people that helped us that worked on this site using some of the extra apps. Some are free, some of these plugins do cost some money, but relatively speaking, it's a much less expensive way of developing a site using their templates and um, these this back end than if we were to start and just build a site from scratch.
Really just comes down to time.
That's right. Yeah, and then hosting too. The other thing we do, I don't have it in the presentation, worth mentioning, is we use a third party called Cloud Access, and everything's hosted in the cloud. So uh, in our older Arlington websites, we had those hosted on servers at our location. Well, now it's much more effective and very inexpensive to host our site in the cloud. So we just pay a monthly fee to have that hosted, and it is relatively inexpensive, um, um, under $10 to be honest.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy, yeah, where things have gotten. So we're able to host that site using cloudaccess.com. So that's another thing. WordPress has services as well to host. We decided to use Cloud Access. We like um, the fact that they have a good backup program, and their downtimes are minimal. We haven't experienced any downtimes with our site, worth mentioning. So the next thing we're going to hit on is website security, right? So why do we need website security? Um, Kelly, I know you run into this a lot with visiting websites and your customers that are and some of the comments that they made with you,
All
right?
the time. Yeah, when I look up, I would say 90% of the customers I speak with, their websites are not secure. And what happens is when you bring up their URL, their words not secure appear directly before their URL. So for me, that says two things. First of all, anybody could go in and manipulate your data, take your data, do something to your website. And two, we're selling technology products as an industry. We need to be technologically advanced enough to have our security certificates updated to give the customers that feeling that they're going to a place that's safe. So I highly recommend doing the certificates.
Right. So like on a secure site like ours, you'll see something on your browser. Sometimes it's green. I have Firefox open, so it's a little purple notification. It's showing it's secure. You got the lock thing here versus that free Weebly site.
And on Chrome, the words not secure come up.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it definitely affects your not your security. It looks as if your site is not a safe site to visit. And the Google and the other search engines, the algorithms for searches are going to rank you lower without having SSL. So it's important to have it. And a lot of certificates in the past have been kind of costly. It's kind of prevented people. It's been one of the reasons people haven't secured their sites, because these certificates would cost like $150, even up to $600 annually to maintain. One service that we found very useful is called Let's Encrypt, and let'sencrypt.org is the website, and it's absolutely free. There's no cost at all. They offer encryption, secure encryption, and they give you instruction on their site. Again, I'll take you to that site as well. Let'sencrypt.org, and you can go there. You can see some of the sponsors they have. They have some large companies that are using this. We use it ourselves. You sign up, you register. They give you instructions on how to actually place the certificate on your site, and moving forward, you have that secure site and that secure encryption, and you're not paying $150 to $600 a year to have your site SSL certified and secure. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. It'll definitely help your SEO. So the next thing, I know if some of you were on our October webinar, we talked a little bit about some of the free marketing tools you should be utilizing, and social media was covered in a great degree there. But one way I wanted to bring it up here because one way it's important in actually helping your website is that you can just drive more backlinks to your site. And what I mean by backlinks, it's an outside website that is has links that are referencing and leading people into your website itself. So any kind of LinkedIn post or Twitter post, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, TikTok, WhatsApp, there's a new app, there's a new social media site every day, right? So if you can create a link from any post that you do on a social media platform to your website, it's only going to improve your SEO. Google, Yahoo, Bing, they're all looking at, one of the algorithms they're looking at is how people are accessing your site, how many are coming in through searches, how many are coming in from direct links. They're tracking all this information, and it adds legitimacy to your company when they see more traffic being driven to your site from outside sources. So I certainly encourage you to use social media just to build awareness to your site, to build that traffic and drive that traffic to your site. None of these services for social media company pages will cost you anything to get started. And if you want more information on that, you can go to arly.com/webinars and view our October webinar. We give more detail on that. How that might look in driving those backlinks, here's two examples that we just published this last week. And you can see on both of these, we included a URL that links right to our storefront on the 12 days email, that storefront.arly.com, and on the Facebook post there, it links right into a blog that we placed on arly.com. So in both these cases, we've had multiple links to our website, our storefront, off of these social media posts. So again, use social media to help drive business to your traffic, to your website. Ultimately, what that does is it drives analytics. And analytics obviously is going to give you that information where this content's coming from. But there's also um, a lot of information that you can gather to help you improve your site. So that's one of the things we've done at arli.com. We haven't gone out and spent a fortune on going to analysts and outside parties to try to improve our SEO. We haven't um, spent we dabbled in Google AdWords for a while, but we pulled out because we realized we needed to spend a fortune to really make it work effectively. And some of you, again, I'm speaking our experience. Some of you may be having other, may have other testimonials on Google Ads that are more favorable. But we realize in order to do it, we need to spend money, and that the point of this is to kind of talk about where we can save. So I kind of left that off this. But Google Analytics itself gives you a lot of valuable information, as does Alexa. Alexa is the Amazon-driven analytics site as well. There is a subscription fee for that. I think it's starts around $49 a month, but it does provide you a lot of valuable information. But get started with Google Analytics. If you're not doing that now, it's a must. It's absolutely free, and you can get started with that at google.com/analytics. And you can get started right away and begin to see where traffic's coming from. Once you get that connected to your site, you can see, get all kinds of valuable demographics on your users. Big Brother's watching, right? All of us have,
Mm-hmm.
they're tracking our IP addresses on our from our laptops or our computers, from our mobile devices, and they're looking, and they've created categories for us. They can tell if we're fans of sports or fans of arts and crafts, or based on our online habits. And Google will provide you that information. It's not going to tell
Mm-hmm.
you this is Brent Martin and he visited your site this much, but they're going to tell you, here's Brent Martin and he's a sports fan, and he's visiting the site. And you get a little demographic, a better idea of who's coming to your site.
All right, think about when you Google something too. I'll Google, like I was looking for an insulated coffee cup, and all of a sudden I got like 3 emails about an insulated coffee cup. They
Right.
know my email address, they know my IP address, they know that I Googled it. I got emails. You're looking for an insulated coffee cup.
Yeah. And there's a lot more powerful tools, that people are paying for to get that additional data, and to actually get your information, where they're actually tracking you. But a lot of the ad placements that you see on web pages are being paid for through Google and other services, and they're using exactly what you're talking about, Kelly.
Yeah.
They see your habits. They see that you've been to Arlie.com. So we're not doing this, but if we paid for
Right.
Arlie.com ads, then when you go to ESPN.com, you may see Arlie
Right.
pulling
Right.
up on there if you visit our site. But
Right.
more
And the point of the
importantly,
whole Google
go ahead.
Analytics is to use this to our advantage as dealers, to see who's looking at you, and to really use it as a free service we can use to our advantage and get more customers and more sales.
That's right. So here's just a screenshot on referral traffic. This isn't our site, but this is a screenshot I found on the web. And it's hard to see here, but this gives you kind of an idea just on a referral page where you'd see where inbound traffic is coming from. It kind of helps you understand, in this case, there's Reddit and Twitter, and um, lets you understand how effective some of your posts are working, but also where some of those referrals may be coming. Some may be third-party sites where you're mentioned. And you can kind of help you even engage and understand where maybe you want to spend some of your marketing dollars if you see that there's effective leads coming from those locations. And it all ultimately is all about improving your SEO and how you can do that. Now, some of those tools that we just mentioned, like Website Grader and Rate. I know we didn't mention Rate Checker before, but we had Website Grader on the previous. These are great tools to go on, and just for no cost, you can go out there and you can just grade your website. And I can just grade ours right now. If I just go to, this is websitegrader.com. You just need to give them your email address. I've never seen an email from them, but they've probably given it to somebody else who's emailed me. But it is a good site. It gives you a rating. It kind of tells you, it goes through, analyzes your site. It tells you where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. And the website grader gives us a score of 84 out of 100. But I can scroll down and I can see, okay, why is it giving me only 14 out of 30 in performance? It's page size, it's paid request. And yeah, this is something we're aware of, but we have a lot of images, we have a lot of video, and the way our site's designed, we know it's gonna rate low on that. But we have gone in here and we have improved some of these metrics by watching this, looking at in more detail, and have been able to increase our speed. We've also been able to improve on some of these other areas here, like caching and compression, by using this tool. So it's free, no charge. Again, you can find out where you rate, and then the nice thing about it is, as you make these improvements, you can go back in here, run it again, and it makes you feel, yeah, you can see the improvement, right? It's like pat yourself on the back. I think honestly, when we first started doing this, we were probably around a 50 or a 60, but we used this tool and we were able to get the site,
Well, it's
up
great
to an
too.
84.
You can really focus on one thing. You can say, I want to improve my performance. That's really what I want to work on right now. I would recommend everybody does it and first does their security and then works on something else. But then you can really hone in and focus on one thing so it doesn't become an overwhelming task to update your website. You're going to work on one piece of it and you know how to do that.
Yep. And then the other one, then there's different. The other thing is, why I mentioned the other one, which was a site checker. They use a completely different algorithm. We got a 94 out of 100. I just ran this one right before our webinar started, because it takes a little while. But yeah, it gave us a 94 of 100 on the results there, and it gives you, again, some other things that they deem as critical on our SEO. I would almost venture to guess it has to do with some of the same notes that came across on Website Grader. But again, having things to do H1, which is headers, header files that are missing. They say some titles are too long. This is all helpful information, and we can go in there. They give you the specifics on the page, and we can make the correction. And it may help our SEO. So we trust it. We trust the process, but we'd recommend either websitegrader.com and sitechecker.pro. Once you get off this call, if you have a current website, these might be great resources for you to just check out your own website, see how it grades out, and find out where your first steps need to be. It may be just as simple as security. It may be as simple as adding a Let's Encrypt. It may be you need to find a mobile-friendly platform for your website. Maybe your website is not mobile friendly, and as you saw, we have 50% of web users accessing from their phones now. This is something to consider when you're maybe looking to improve your website. If you're looking at Weebly or WordPress, they have.
We talked about Google My Business in our October webinar, which is available online now.
Yep. And the one thing we've started using Google My Business more just within the last 3 or 4 months, posting content. We have all of our locations claimed, and we get reviews. People actually submit reviews there. We can respond to them once we claimed our business. But like Kelly said, you can go to October's webinar to learn more about that. But that's something that's no cost, and you should be doing as well. And it all helps with your ranking within Google when you're using these tools, especially the Google tools.